Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time Slash figure, which I have to just point out, Turtles in Time, if you haven't played it, is the best Turtles game ever. It's basically, well, no, it's not. I was gonna say it's like the arcade game, but it's really not. But it's similar, but it's a fantastic game, and this figure is from that. That's kind of irrelevant, but whatever. Whatever. You probably are collecting this having played the game and knowing that it's awesome, or not caring at all about the game, and I don't need to go over it, so I'm not going to. But the figure itself is pretty darn good. I know most people were pretty psyched for this. If you're collecting the Turtle line, basically any addition to it is awesome, and this, I think, is one which is not going to disappoint. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 14 centimeters, maybe just above it, which makes him pretty close to, let's say, 5 5/8 inches tall. And let's just do a quick comparison here so you guys can see. Let me do it this way. It's basically the same. I've said basically a few times now, but I guess it fits every time I said it. It's basically the same figure as before. Now, I do remember in the game Slash appearing to be a little bit thicker than the Turtles, and somehow it seems like that's happening here. I don't know if it's just because of the add-on shoulder pads and the claws and the bigger hands and things like that, or if it's just because his shell is different, because as far as I can tell, the main body parts, torso, legs, limbs, basically everything, I said it again, same thing. It's just kind of like the extra bits that are different, but his shell is definitely bigger and more substantial, so maybe that's somehow changing it. He does seem to have a new neck, or he does have a new neck, and obviously a new head. Either way, it makes him look a little bit more stout than the Turtles, and I think that's okay. Maybe it should be more, but I definitely wouldn't have expected them to make a whole new sculpt just for Slash when they can get away with using most of the parts. And I think it's a good job. I could definitely understand that criticism that he should have all new parts, but I think this is okay. Should be acceptable for most people. So it does look really good. It does have the kind of pixelated paint job on there, and it's mostly really clean. One spot that does stand out, I wish they would have done something about, is the feet, because they do match the front and they look okay from the front, but anything even from the side and then going all the way around, it looks really weird. So I wish they would have just thrown a little bit of paint on there just to make it look better, but not bad. The gloves are a little bit of a different shade of purple from the hand to the wrist. Not a huge deal, but something worth mentioning. And everything else is pretty much solid. It does have the stylized paint job throughout the belt, and any place that really doesn't have the pixelation, it has kind of a cel-shaded look. So pretty good. They nailed the coloring as far as I can tell. The purple and then the darker, like kind of indigo color up here. The mouth is done really well. All in all, it's a very, very appealing figure. Definitely fantastic. And NECA's figures, even though they are highly articulated in most cases, they definitely aim or lean towards the aesthetic more. And obviously this guy just nails it. It's really, really appealing. Very nice to look at. Very clean all around paint job. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think 9 out of 10 should be a good rating. Now, as far as accessories go, we do get his sword, which is fairly accurate to the game, and we get a grenade. I don't remember if he throws grenades or not, but I know the cartoon had him using grenades, so you get one and that's okay. So accessory-wise, pretty basic, but it's fine, so 7, I guess. Now, as far as the articulation goes, like I said, it's almost the exact same as the Turtles. The neck is different. Unfortunately, it does have the same problems as the Turtles, where some of the joints are super stiff and some are not, so you're going to kind of have to roll the dice and see what you get. You will be able to, using a hairdryer and some finesse, a little bit of delicate touch, you'll probably be able to coax him into the poses you want. I'm going to go over this guy. This is exactly how he came out of the package. Again, hairdryer will help in many cases, but I'm not doing that because I want to show you what you're getting out of the package if yours comes in the same condition mine did, which is normal. Okay, so the bandana does rotate around on the back here, which not going to hurt, definitely helpful. I never understood why people connect things and don't make them rotate, so that's nice. The head appears to just be on a single ball peg on top of the neck. It moves around really nicely, plenty of range. I can't really get it to look down, so I'm not sure what's up with that, but it does have plenty of range otherwise. The neck appears to have a hinge in there. You can kind of see the cutout, and it should rotate, but I can't really get any purchase on there to make it move. I can't get it to do the hinge or anything. It should rotate, it looks like that should be a swivel hinge right there. I can't get to it to do anything with it, and mine's very stiff, so I can't do it. You can decide if that's a problem for you or if you don't mind getting the hairdryer out. Shoulders are your standard ball hinge. They do of course rotate all the way around. The glued on parts are a soft material, so they will flex a little bit as they bump into the shell. I haven't had any paint transfer yet. Hinging, I'm not having any luck. I can only get a tiny bit of range out of it. So hopefully you guys have better luck or don't mind heating it up. Again, that's pretty much standard for these turtle figures. If you don't know that by now, then you're new to the line and you need to be aware of it, and that's why I'm talking about it. But anybody who's been collecting this is well aware of that issue. I do have a little bit of a loose bicep on this one. This one doesn't seem to have that problem, but it definitely doesn't feel tight. You get a single jointed elbow, which gives you just about 90 degrees, and of course you can straighten it all the way out if you want to, but it does give you a swivel in there as well, so a little bit of extra poseability. For the wrists, you have a swivel and a hinge. The swivel on mine are both fairly loose. The hinge is pretty much standard. Now, there is a ball peg in the torso which allows it to move around some. That's never really particularly useful, but it is in there. You can rotate the crotch area and lean it side to side, even a little bit front to back. So there is some versatility in there, not a whole lot. The hips have your standard ball hinge, and you're gonna have to be careful. Mine appear to be not quite set properly. I don't know, this one looks lower than this one. So be aware, you may have some issues, but you can get basically the full splits out of that. I said basically again, goodness. You can bring the legs pretty much all the way forward. The shell will flex, so that's fine. They don't really go back too far, but the range is technically there. You get a thigh swivel. Double jointed knee works pretty nicely, not too bad. And then for the ankles, it's just a ball peg which moves around, which doesn't give you a ton of range, but it's enough to keep him on his feet. So yeah, like most NECA figures, the articulation is somewhat sacrificed for the aesthetic, and even when it is there, you have some issues with stiffness or looseness. But if you're willing to deal with all of that, it does look really good at least, and I will give them that, and that's definitely what they're aiming for, so I think they're okay with that. But as far as the articulation goes, I'm only going to give this guy a 6. The tightness and the looseness, definitely not a great combo for a new collector. It's definitely not a good situation because they're not going to want to pull out a hairdryer and start applying more force than is probably comfortable. So new collectors need to kind of be careful, watch out. But if you're an experienced collector, or if you've been in this line at least for a little while, you should be just fine. So you guys can decide how you feel about all that stuff. I've given you the information. You can make your own decisions. But I'm going to give this guy a final verdict of 8 out of 10. The aesthetic is just wonderful. It is great. I think they nailed it. And then you do have that somewhat limited articulation, but that is something I'm willing to live with and I think is what they were aiming for when they designed it, so it seems like a fair thing to me. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I've got new videos out just about every single day, and for those times when I can't put any videos out, I've got thousands and thousands already on the channel, so plenty for you to watch. Some of them are very old and terrible, but maybe that's still worth watching for the humor. I don't know. As in, it's funny how bad they are. We'll see. You can give it a shot. It's up to you. They're there. And that'll do it. So make sure you do all of those things. And in the meantime, keep collecting.